Hello and welcome to the Mission City podcast. Every year at Mission City, we have a unique way to give back to the community called Food for Families. We partner up with local ministries to distribute over 1,000 Thanksgiving meals to families all around San Antonio. And for this session, we wanted to bring in those local missions partners to learn more about them and hear how Food for Families impacts their ministries. Let's go ahead and get started. Here are campus pastors, Dave and Chuck.
Good morning, Dave.
Hey, Chuck. How you doing, buddy?
I am well. It's good to see you this morning.
Good to see you. It's cold.
Nice brisk morning. I dressed for it.
I did too. This is thick. Oh, I missed a button.
Hey, well,
come on, Benny. You're supposed to dress.
Well, who's in charge of costume? That's what I want to know.
That's what we need. A costume set designer guy, girl, whatever.
Well, it's called your wife. She should check
she
you before you walk.
Before I do. I'm usually walking the dog when she leaves.
Well, that's your fault. You need to get up and get dressed sooner so you can have somebody check you. Cheryl, this is the Cheryl approved. She was up this morning, so
she knows what's up. You don't. She knows.
Well, I mean, she got good taste. I mean, she married me. Right? Absolutely. We have some great guests this morning. I'm excited about Food for Families. We've been talking about that from the stage and from communications and all that's going on in our communities. Food for Families is such a big deal here at Mission City Church.
It is 1,050 families this year is awesome. Our goal. To
Can you
take
imagine
meals
that?
to.
That's a lot of people.
1,050 between the three campuses, three locations.
Yes, I'm excited about it. So we have Agnes Hubbard from Hill Country Daily Bread Ministries.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. And we have Jason Brooks.
Yeah, excited to be here with you guys. Jason Brooks, that's right.
From Agora Ministries, here to talk about y'all's ministries and how we get to partner with you guys and the excellent work that both of you do just to serve our communities. We're excited. I know the last few years we've worked with Jason at Agora, and with this year we get to, in our neck of the woods, out Northwest Quarter, work with Hill Country Daily Bread, which is a first-year partnership, which we're excited about that. That's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so what Food for Families is, for people that don't know, is we actually ask our church members or church attenders, they don't necessarily, not all of them are covenant members or whatever, but they purchase boxes for $48, and then on the Sunday that we do that, they pack those boxes. And so our whole churches are set up that Sunday. Now, yours is going to be a little bit different this year,
yes.
But here at the central location, they will pack 500 boxes, actually 425 boxes, and then our north location will do 75 boxes for Agora. And they'll actually put the turkeys in, they'll actually put the stuffing in, and the pie and all the different things. And the most important thing is they put God's Word in there, and they put a Bible. And then we ask them to pack it, then go back and start making more boxes. And then they actually deliver them, and they will meet the Agora ministry from here at Central, and they will actually deliver them to people's doorsteps with some pastors in those communities and share the gospel and pray with people. And so every year we see several people come to know Jesus as Savior, which is awesome. And it also gives us an opportunity just to love on our community for those.
Ours looks a little bit different.
Yeah, tell us what you're doing this year, Chuck.
You're
going to be here for Food for Families? It's an inside joke.
Inside joke. Yes, I will be here. I'm excited about being here, and we've this year we've partnered with Hill Country Daily Bread to we're going to do the exact same thing. We're purchasing boxes with all the fixings. It's excited about, but we're on Saturday. Our life groups on Saturday are going to go over to Hill Country Daily Bread, be part of a packing process.
And where are y'all located at? Hill Country Daily Bread?
In Bernie, Texas.
In Bernie, Texas, right off of Old Scenic Loop Road. Is that Cascade Caverns?
Cascade Caverns.
Cascade Caverns, yes. And then we'll pack all that on Saturday. They've got an amazing facility out in Bernie. If you've never been there, I would strongly recommend giving them a visit because God has done an amazing work there just to see what they get to do. And then Sunday, we are actually going to, at the end of our service, we're going to have people go back out to Hill Country Daily Bread, be part of two processes. One, handing boxes over to people who come and pick up their boxes and be able to share, have gospel conversations with people who pick it up. Awesome. And then we have another core group of people who are going to deliver boxes because Hill Country Daily Bread services a large area and I'll let Agnes talk a little bit about that, what they do. But super excited. It looks a little bit different. Matter of fact, we're excited, but also a little bit nervous because there's some new ways that we're doing it. But excited because we know it's being led by excellent leadership with Agnes.
Well,
and her team.
and here's the thing is, and Jesus, talked about, those that are thirsty, those that are hungry, and going to see them. But we don't just provide the food because we know people get hungry again. But if we take the gospel message and people's lives are transformed, that's what it's all about, getting to share the gospel. That's just sort of the intro into letting people know we love and care. So, Jason, how about telling us about how long you've been at Agora, what Agora does, and what that whole ministry looks like, not just for Food for Families, but exactly what you guys do, and then maybe how people can partner with Agora to do some different things, outreach events that's not just at Thanksgiving time.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys again for allowing me to be here. Agora Ministries comes from Acts 17:17. The Bible says that daily Paul would go reason in the synagogue, so he'd go where the religious were, and then he would go preach the gospel in the Agora. That was the gathering place or marketplace. That's what Agora means. So at the heart of our ministry, we are an outreach ministry, specifically called to serve the poor. So we serve here in the 78207 zip code, which is the lowest fed, highest violent crime, highest dropout rate, highest single mother area of our city. Matter of fact, about 4 years ago, CNN did a thing and said that we are the second lowest fed zip code in the entire nation.
Is that right?
Right here in our city in San Antonio. So obviously with the Food for Families, it really is a transformative thing that allows us to walk into the homes and be a personal, Jesus to them by what you guys do. And so, but we are an inner city ministry that we do weekly kids ministries and food ministries and youth ministry and mentoring and tutoring and all kinds of outreach events through the year. We have teams that come all over the country and partner with us to do missions trips. So we usually have about 500 to 600 people that stay a week and they go and experience serving missions in the inner city and serving those that are poor. But I've been down there. Actually, I chased a pretty girl. Her name was Misty, and married her 27 years ago.
Wow.
And so I've been down there over 27 years, but had a software company for 15 years, and then the Lord called us full-time. And so 10 years ago on October 1st, we made the transition and have been full-time missionaries in the inner city since that time. And it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. I love the inner city. It is why God has made me to serve those and to help the church as a whole be able to serve and help us do that, because we feel like this. When families and people come and they volunteer in an area like ours, God does something to their hearts.
Sure.
When you actually see these young men and women that we've seen, when you see these families where they're at, it's transformative and powerful. And we want the church to know, as the Big C church, that God calls all of us to serve the poor and to see the needs of others. And we believe when you're there, and we've seen it 1,000 times, that the Holy Spirit cares about these. God cares, and His Spirit will move you to have compassion, just like Jesus did when He said He saw the compassion that they were in need of food, and they didn't have shepherds, and so we want to do that with the church as a whole, and so we're excited.
Do y'all
for
have when you say you do the children and the youth ministries and all those things, do you go to churches to do that, or do you guys have a place where people come? How does that work?
Great question. We actually have 3 outreach locations. One, 2 blocks from the largest housing project in San Antonio, the Alazan Apache Courts. We have one block from the Casiano Homes, which is the second largest housing project, and then we have one on the east side. And so all of our ministries go out of there. We do all kinds of ministries, but what we don't do is Sunday morning, because what we found is not doing Sunday, we can actually partner with inner city churches and help them, bringing resources and volunteers and all kinds of things. And then right now in all 3 of our locations, we have either helped or working with and have planted churches there. So out of the us partnering with other inner city churches, we've actually planted 8 churches now in the inner city that are, and so great. Being able to be a missionaries, so we're not doing Sunday, we can work partnerships like that.
It's a kingdom.
And
I mean,
help
that's
them
why
grow and expand.
That's why we wanted to partner and with pastors in those communities, because a lot of churches, when they do outreach, is to bring people into the church. we just want to bring people into the kingdom of God.
Yes.
And so we know most of the time when we do those ministries, those people actually won't be a part of Mission City probably. However, Mission City could help
Yes.
the churches that maybe don't have the same resources to reach the people in their
Right.
community, which is an awesome thing.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that why we're so excited to work with Hill Country Daily Bread, just hearing their heart. I have a little bit of a personal connection to Hill Country Daily Bread. My daughter Haley used to work in the Stand By Me
she's great.
program at Hill Country Daily Bread, so she really there was a sort of a spike into my heart for that. And once I learned more about what they did, I've always known that Hill Country Daily Bread's been there. We've done food collection drives and things
That's
like that
right.
where we just hand over food to them, but then you sort of just walk away and wonder, like, I wonder how that's being processed. But having my daughter go through it and learn more about it, I've been super excited to see what God's doing. So we have Agnes, who I'm just so thankful to. I got to meet several months ago. I actually got to attend a fundraising dinner and got to hear the heart of Hill Country Daily Bread back then. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the heart of your ministry and how we can all pray for your ministry and what's going on?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me. This is wonderful, and it's great to see you again. And we've done stuff together. Hill Country Daily Bread was birthed 23 years ago out of a garage in Bernie. It wasn't even our garage. And my husband had this idea, and we had people come around us and kind of mentor us. We love the whole mentoring idea. We're pretty unique in the way that we see ourselves as a toolbox for the church. We don't want to be a church, and we try not to do things that the churches can do. And the idea is that we help partner with the church and come in and do training and establish mentoring programs within the church so that you can be equipped to walk alongside people, but also have the resources, the basic resources, food, diapers, clothing, and many other things, to make sure we're meeting those basic needs first. And so the training program is pretty extensive because we're middle class, and we've found over the years through our research and our experience that we don't think like a persistently poor person or a generationally poor person. We don't sometimes make the same decisions, and so it's sometimes difficult to walk alongside someone who thinks pretty radically different about daily decisions than you do. It can actually cause burnout and discouragement. So we do a lot of training up front, and we knit together, working with the church and walking alongside them, a leadership team that establishes that in the church. Because like everybody has said here today, it's about relationships. And you win the right to be heard. And you just can't jump into somebody's life and start telling them what to do. We want to do that.
Right.
We want to give them a list. And God is sort of laughing, in heaven going, yeah, you're not so great. So don't give them a list about you.
You're just broken in a different way.
Yeah, you're just, exactly. I tell people in the training, when we first started it, God, you kind of suck. And that's why I'm having you do this. Because through this mentoring and through this hard thing, you're going to become more like Jesus. And I can tell you the first woman I mentored, she had every problem you could think of, but I'm the one who changed the most. And it was really an eye-opening experience. So through the years, we've developed this program, and so we come alongside of churches and do that. We also look like a giant food bank, and so we can do emergency care when people come in and just walk in, and they can leave with food. So
where does most of that come from? From churches, or do you have a food bank that delivers?
We do. We are members of Operation Blessing, which is out of the 700 Club. So that's their hunger strike force. And they have two main locations, one on the East Coast and one in Dallas. So we're a Kingdom Coalition partner for them, which is really incredible because just a whole 18-wheeler we sponsor for $3,000. And that's 33,000 pounds of food. Wow. It's amazing, how far we can stretch a donor dollar. We also partner with the food bank And then we do drives. We do hundreds of drives a year with the community. I think we even did one with the school.
Recently,
with you guys.
Yeah, we did a canned food drive with our baseball program and brought in a bunch of food. And that's where like I said, when my daughter was with them, I learned like this is not just a food bank, because that's really in my mind was just like they're meeting needs. It really is about the whole. They're trying to bless the whole person, not just meeting their basic needs, but coming alongside them, and that's what really impressed me.
Yes,
and made me have a desire to want to get more connected.
We support the church once we match up families with the church once they have that team, and then we match a family who is registered in the mentoring program with mentors out of that program that's been established.
What does that look like as far as the mentoring goes? Is that sort of a discipleship to help people move from maybe in need of food to helping them
be independent and dependent on the Lord? Absolutely. We have case managers, so the church partner is never alone. We have mentor specialists. We'll have the core team specialist that works with the leadership team, and the case manager. And
wow, that's a lot of accountability. That's great.
It's a lot of accountability, and we make sure that not just the family feels supported by a case manager, but the church and the mentor feel supported.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll set up an action plan for that family. And so when the mentor gets matched, they're working that action plan. And of course, creating a relationship that leads to trust, leads to opportunities to share the gospel. And it's a long process. I mean, if you've been in poverty for several generations, you're not going to hop out with three boxes delivered to your house. It just doesn't work that way. We had to learn that over many years. It's like, why isn't everybody changing? Well, my goodness, how I can't even stop, doing the habits. I can't stop eating French fries, and I've been trying for 62 years. And so, we're asking people.
I'm a French fry fan.
Exactly, it's an addiction.
Me.
And we're asking people to make huge life changes, and sometimes rather scary life changes, where they might even have to walk away. I'm sure you understand that too.
Yeah.
Walk away from family members
and
things like that. So that's how that works. We also have a food bank for nonprofits and churches. So you as a partner can come and shop there for free.
Yeah.
And that stretches your budget. And so you may be able to hire a staff member or pay something or have food for an outreach program.
That's awesome.
And so we also have, like your daughter was in, mentoring for at-risk kids.
Yeah.
And that's probably my favorite.
Oh, man.
I just love that because we have 100% graduation out of that program.
That is awesome. I had a misunderstanding when I first moved to Boerne, and I think a lot of people would have this misunderstanding. Boerne has, in the Fair Oaks area, kind of has this image of being super, super wealthy.
Absolutely.
But within that community are really pockets of deep, deep poverty that would shock a lot of people who from the outside in look like, well, here's a community whose median household income is outrageously high. The cost of living is outrageously high. The house prices are. How can anybody live? But if you really take a good deep look within just Boerne and the Hill Country region in which you serve, and you serve 5 counties, correct?
5 counties with mentoring, and 8 counties with our food bank.
Yeah. So there's pockets of deep, deep poverty that people just don't realize.
Yeah, once you get beyond Boerne proper area, although Boerne has pockets and all down I-10, it's really very, very poor. Rural people have dirt floors, no heat, no running water. You get around the Bandera, Wharton Stock area, people, lots of drugs, all kinds of things out there. It just, they call that actually foundations, when you talk to foundations that look at populations, they call that whole Hill Country area a drought-resourced area.
Oh, wow.
Because although there's lots of people, there's no agencies, there's no infrastructure, there's no bus line. If you're a little old lady and you're 75, 80 years old and you're living in a rural area, there might be somebody living a mile away from you.
Right.
But there's no bus to pick you up if you want to go to the store. And so we find the lack of resources in that area very, very difficult to get people help. So we're sort of a hub, a homeroom, so to speak. Once that family goes back to the church as a match, then that family has the resources of that church, plus our resources, and plus all the connections we have with nonprofits.
Well, it takes a village. It's a kingdom work. And
Absolutely.
I love the fact that you said you sort of have to win the right to share the gospel. And that's true. I mean, relationship building is so important. And that's what's great about the ministries that you guys provide is we don't get the opportunity because of our schedules and things to get down there and do those things. But we care very deeply. And so to know that there's that kind of care and that kind of accountability, I think everybody in our church would be grateful to know that that's happening on both fronts. So, Jason, tell us a little bit about maybe a struggle that people can be praying for Agora Ministries, and maybe and even share some wins too, just like of somebody that's lives that would transform. A family. I'm sure there's a ton, but is there just one particular one? But a challenge and maybe a blessing.
Well, I would love to, for a moment, share about Food for Families. So last year there was a few extra boxes left, so my wife and I were excited that we got a chance as well because we love going into our community, and we took one of the boxes to a Arabic family. They were from actually Iraq, and so what you find in the Cassiano homes is it's a significant refugee population that's coming. There's significant Afghanistan, Iraqi, all these places, and so. Doing ministry with those is very difficult because they're very outside. They're not open outsiders. But there was a family that we have been doing ministry in that area and doing food delivery. And so we brought this food in and the turkey and all the sides and show it to them. They were ecstatic. They actually invited us in their house. We took off our shoes because they have their mats everywhere. Right. And I said, it's okay if not, but do you mind if I pray for you guys? And they were like, yes, please. They had all their children come from the rooms, and we got to pray over their families.
Wow.
So even while many times we see salvations or people give their lives to Christ, sometimes it's just a seed that was going to allow something else. And then throughout the year, we see these families, some of them are now coming to our ministries, coming to our food pantry and hearing the gospel full presentation, and really God is doing a work. And so these things are not just, we're giving out food. No, these are giving out in the name of the Lord. Right. A love that people get to see. In the Bible, Jesus said, you'll know that they're my disciples, they love one another. And so this is one way we can show love. But for me, being down there for so many years, I have seen abuse, abandonment. I mean, kids coming to hug me with so much lice in their hair. You can see it moving and crawling everywhere. It's a scary thing. Taking kids to camp that are body lice. And I have seen tremendous things. I mean, drug addiction, prostitution, all around. I've dodged bullets a couple of times. No one else that I know of that's volunteered with us has ever had that. But being down there as much as I have, all that to be said, God is still a God that calls us to serve the poor and those that are in need. And just like you guys are doing, there's need, and the people of God have got to fill it. I'll just say one more thing. We did an outreach not too long ago that met this young man named JT. He it's a different name for him, but JT, and he came to a basketball tournament, and we connected. We just started talking and laughing and stuff. We ended up about a week later, he found me on Facebook, and he's a messenger. And he said, hey, sir, I met you at the basketball tournament. Can we talk for a minute? And I said, yeah, sure. And so I called him, and he said, hey, I didn't believe in God. But the last week, I've been waking. I can't go to sleep, actually, he said, because I feel like I'm going to go to hell. This thing I think maybe is real. Could you tell me a little bit more?
Wow.
So I ended up telling him about Christ, led him to Christ on the phone. Actually, this has been about 3 months now. Almost every single day, he is calling, he's reading his word. He is texting me questions. He has come now, he's part of our youth Bible studies, coming to our youth ministry, and he's now reaching the lost in Lanier High School and sharing the gospel with others. All these things, when we work together and go out, it creates life change, and he's now doing that with other people in the community. So it's exciting. Thank you for the partnerships, by the way. Really, couldn't do it without you.
I love that, Jason. That's great to hear. I know Agnes probably has very similar stories. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you've seen, some of the blessings and ways that we can pray for. I know our heart is to partner, but I know that people out there can also be a part of praying for Hill Country Daily Bread as well.
I think probably you've seen that in your neck of the woods, that this economy has really affected this vulnerable population that we both serve, us in rural poverty, you in urban poverty. And we're seeing that, people that might have been right on the bubble of being able to afford things, rents have gone up drastically, especially in the Hill Country area, I think.
Yes.
Even in the inner city.
Yeah, 30 and 40%. Well, they can't handle 30 and 40% after gas prices and food prices and everything else. So we hit our numbers for emergency relief boxes in July, the number for all of last year.
Wow.
That's how it's really affecting. And this year, through that program and the family mentoring program, we'll hit 1,000 families just in those programs. So I think that all of us are gearing up for building capacity within our programs. And you guys partnering with us is such a blessing because we work through churches, so to meet the need, we need more churches, and we need churches to do things. So that's not a struggle, but a challenge for us right now, making sure we've got staffing and new software, all the kinds of things that we need to build for the future. Wins that we've had, beautiful stories. It's just a blessing to see them every day. I don't know about you, but there's almost not a day that goes by that we don't hear about something like that. Something I heard yesterday that was incredible. One of our churches had come on board in January, and they had somebody that they were mentoring, and she is now independent and secure, single mom, and she is going to teach their ESL program. They're going to start an ESL program wrapped around the fact that she has stepped out in faith.
Oh my goodness.
So she went from somebody that was in the mentoring program, dire need, to somebody who's going to be able to share the gospel through ESL, through the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And how incredible is that? Just fearlessness on her part and seeing herself in a different way. I think that's the main thing we all fight with poverty, is they start to create that identity for themselves, that I'm a poor person instead of I'm fearfully and wonderfully made by God with a purpose. And of all the things we do, that's the hardest thing to change, is the tape in their head. I don't know if you can call it tape anymore, but my generation used to call it tape. But
the live stream. The
live stream in your head that says, I'll never be able to do anything but be in crisis and be in need. We've taken surveys, and 85% of our clients say they think they'll always need assistance. They say that when they come in. Well, to me, that word is hopelessness.
Yes.
They just think this is all there is. And so us bringing Jesus into the household and the possibilities that come with that, and the strength and the confidence that we build, it's not just a gospel message, but it's a whole transformation of a human being. Yeah. And then it brings their family along with them. So it's amazing. And then we get to do life with churches, which is sweet. Just to see the people, the congregants transforming. It is just as important to us that the experience of the mentor and the church and the leadership team as the experience of the client. So we spend just as much time working with those two groups. It's not just the person coming in the door.
Transformed. That's in our purpose statement.
Absolutely.
Leading people into lives of transformation, and that's all about Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if I could mention, what she's talked about, hope is massive, because it deals with where the idea of poverty. There's a hopelessness. And it's scary because I've youth pastored suburban churches, and you ask a young person, what are they going to do? And they want to be a doctor and a lawyer and a vet all at the same time. They got these incredible visions. And working with our students over this last 27 years, I talk to them, and they just don't have any hope. I don't know. It's scary, that it's hopelessness. And I will spend so little time with a young man, and even some of the girls when I'm with my wife, and the amount of kids that have called us mom and dad, because they have such a vacuum in their own lives. And you're talking about just a few times, they don't have these encouraging. It's a fatherless generation often. It's a distant relationship, but it all goes back to they lack hope. And they don't see something better. And when we come and you guys partner with us to come beside these young men and women and provide these needs, it really does change their thinking and allow them to see, wait, there's others out there, and there's something different I can go after. Does that make sense?
It makes
and so
complete sense.
it's huge, and I just want to say thank you guys for that partnership.
Yeah, we're grateful that God put that on your heart and for your obedience to go. And I know you are blessed so much from the things that you get to see that it's incredible. I've gotten to be a part of inner city ministry in the past, and what a wonderful just ministry that is. So we're grateful to y'all. We're grateful to those in our church that are going to support these families and these ministries and begin praying. If I can encourage those listening, please start praying for Food for Families and pray for these ministries. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I would say to our church, like, this is a great example of why we need you to come alongside and purchase boxes of food and help us be a part of the delivery process, because meeting those needs, you never know that your box that you deliver is the beginning of hope in someone's life, leading them to Jesus. You never know that. So if those of you are on the fence whether or not I'm going to buy a box, I'm going to deliver, this should help you make that decision, because we get a chance to see God work in those lives. And so thank you so much for sharing your heart, for what you're doing. We're that y'all are in our prayers daily for what you're doing. We're thankful for the work that you do in the trenches. I think we're all in the trenches, and we should all be in the trenches, serving in so many different ways. So,
amen.
Absolutely.
And thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Appreciate y'all being here.
Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Mission City Podcast. I hope this session gave you a little insight into our missions partners and Food for Families. What was your biggest takeaway? Let us know in the comments section. You can click here to subscribe so you don't miss next week's session, and you can click here to catch up on Season 3. See you guys next time.